The blue glow of holographic displays filled the council chamber as 12 alien species sat in judgment of humanity. For 50 years, they had watched Earth through hidden sensors and spy probes. What they saw made them laugh. Humans were weak, divided and foolish. They fought endless wars over tiny pieces of land while the galaxy's greatest empire prepared to claim them. Ambassador Veltar, a tall creature with purple skin and 4 arms, stood before the council. His species had ruled this part of space for 1,000 years. "These humans are nothing," he said, waving dismissively at the data screens. "They barely reach their own moon. Their weapons shoot metal bullets. Their ships burn chemical fuel, like children playing with fireworks." The other council members nodded. They had conquered hundreds of worlds. Earth would be easy. Captain Dan Rivers was drinking coffee on the bridge of the exploration ship New Hope when the alien message arrived. The transmission came through their communication array at exactly 800 hours, interrupting his morning routine. The voice that spoke was cold and mechanical, translated by some advanced computer system. "Greetings, primitive humans of the 3rd planet. We are the Galactic Council. You will submit to our authority. In return, we offer protection from the dangers of space. You will mine resources for us. You will work in our factories. This is a generous offer." Dan nearly choked on his coffee. He had been exploring space for 15 years, but this was first contact with aliens. Real aliens. And they were demanding surrender before even saying hello. "Sir, we're getting the same message on all frequencies," reported Communications Officer Lisa Wong. "It's broadcasting to every ship, every station, every radio on Earth." Dan grabbed the ship's intercom. "All hands. This is the captain. We just received first contact from an alien civilization. And folks, they're not here to be friends." Back on Earth, President John Clark sat in the Situation Room deep beneath the White House. The room was packed with generals, scientists, and advisors. Everyone was talking at once. The alien message had reached every corner of the planet. News stations were going crazy. People were either celebrating or panicking in the streets. "What do we know about them?" President Clark asked. General Sandra Hayes, head of Earth Defense Command, pulled up satellite images on the main screen. "Our deep space sensors detected 12 large ships entering the solar system 3 hours ago. They're holding position near Jupiter. Each ship is roughly 2 miles long. Their technology is clearly superior to ours." "How superior?" asked Dr. Paul Anderson, the president's science advisor. "Their smallest ship could probably destroy our entire space fleet without breaking a sweat," General Hayes replied grimly. Admiral Kevin Stone, commander of Earth's Space Navy, leaned forward. "Sir, I recommend we stall for time. Accept their offer temporarily while we prepare our defenses." "Defenses against what?" scoffed Secretary of State Nancy Foster. "Did you hear the general? They could wipe us out easily. Maybe we should consider their offer seriously." President Clark raised his hand for silence. "What's your assessment, General Hayes?" The general stood up and walked to the display screen. She had been studying warfare her entire life. Something about this situation felt wrong. "Mr. President, I've been analyzing their transmission. Notice how they immediately demanded submission. No negotiation, no attempt to understand our culture, no questions about our capabilities. So that tells me they think we're completely helpless. They've already decided we can't fight back. In my experience, that kind of overconfidence can be dangerous." President Clark nodded slowly. "What do you recommend?" "We play dumb, act scared. Buy time while we figure out how to hurt them." 3 days later, Ambassador Korthek arrived on Earth in a shuttle that defied all known laws of physics. The craft was smooth and silent, landing on the White House lawn without any visible engines or propulsion system. Secret Service agents surrounded it nervously, their weapons probably useless against such advanced technology. The alien that emerged was 7 feet tall with gray skin and huge black eyes. He wore robes that seemed to shift color in the sunlight. When he spoke, his voice came from a small device on his chest that translated his words into perfect English. "I am Ambassador Korthek of the Galactic Council. I have come to accept your surrender and begin the integration process." President Clark met the alien in the Oval Office, surrounded by his advisors and a few carefully chosen reporters. "Ambassador, we appreciate your offer, but we need more time to consider such an important decision." The alien's face showed surprise. In his experience, primitive species immediately begged for mercy when faced with the Council's power. "Time. What is there to consider? You have no choice in this matter." "We're a democratic society," President Clark explained calmly. "Major decisions require discussion and debate. Our people need to understand what you're offering before we can respond." Ambassador Korthek studied the human leader carefully. He had overseen the conquest of 47 worlds. Usually, the local government collapsed within hours of first contact. These humans were acting strangely calm for a species facing extinction. "How much time do you require?" the ambassador asked. 6 months should be sufficient for a proper democratic process." The alien laughed, a sound like metal scraping against stone. 6 months? Very well. But do not mistake our patience for weakness. The Council has destroyed civilizations far more advanced than yours. After the alien left, President Clark turned to General Hayes. 6 months to figure out how to fight gods. Think we can do it? The general smiled grimly. "Sir, humans have been fighting impossible odds since we lived in caves. We've beaten disease, famine, natural disasters, and each other. Now we get to try our luck against aliens. What's our first move? We learn everything we can about them. Their technology, their tactics, their weaknesses. Every species has weaknesses, even advanced ones. We just have to find them." Unknown to the aliens, humanity had been preparing for this possibility for decades. Deep underground facilities already existed, hidden from orbital sensors. Scientists had been studying captured alien probe fragments for years. The military had developed contingency plans for exactly this scenario. While Ambassador Korthek reported to the Council that humans were primitive and confused, Earth's greatest minds were already working on ways to level the playing field. They didn't need to match alien technology. They just needed to surprise them. In space, Captain Dan Rivers received new orders from Earth Defense Command. His mission was simple but dangerous. Follow the alien ships and learn their capabilities. Without being detected, the New Hope was humanity's most advanced vessel, equipped with experimental stealth technology that might hide them from alien sensors. As Dan watched the massive alien fleet through his ship's cameras, he wondered if humanity was making a terrible mistake. These beings had conquered the galaxy. Their ships were beautiful and terrifying, bristling with weapons that could crack planets. But then he remembered something his grandfather had told him about fighting in World War III. "Son, it doesn't matter how big the enemy is. What matters is whether you're willing to fight. And humans always fight back." The war hadn't started yet, but battle lines were already being drawn. The Galactic Council thought they had found another easy conquest. They were about to learn that humans were anything but easy. 4 months had passed since first contact. In the hidden military bunkers beneath Colorado, Commander Jake Miller worked 18-hour days studying alien technology. His team had recovered pieces from crashed alien probes over the past 20 years. Now they finally had a reason to understand what they were looking at. "Sir, we've figured out how their energy weapons work," reported Dr. Lisa Park, the team's lead scientist. She was exhausted, but excited. "The good news is their technology isn't magic. The bad news is they're about 200 years ahead of us." Jake rubbed his tired eyes. "Can we build anything that can hurt them?" "Not directly, but we don't need to match their technology. We just need to be smarter about how we use ours." Meanwhile, in orbit around Jupiter, the alien fleet waited. War Commander Zektar was growing impatient. His species, the Korthak, had built an empire on speed and overwhelming force. This slow diplomatic dance with humans was insulting. "Supreme Admiral," Zektar said to the fleet commander, "these humans mock us with their delays. We should crush one of their settlements to show them we are serious." Supreme Admiral Morden was old and experienced. He had conquered 47 worlds for the Council. Usually, primitive species surrendered immediately when they saw his ships. These humans were different. and that worried him. Perhaps a small demonstration would be wise. The Admiral agreed. Choose a target that will frighten them but not destroy their ability to serve us. Zektar smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. Their moon base. It's isolated and lightly defended. We destroy it. They surrender. Simple. Back on Earth, Colonel Mike Roberts was having the worst day of his career. He commanded Luna Base, humanity's largest mining facility on the moon. The base produced rare metals needed for Earth's technology. It also served as humanity's first line of defense in space. Colonel, we're getting massive energy readings from the alien fleet, reported Sergeant Amy Chen from the sensor station. 12 ships are breaking away from the main group. They're heading our way. Mike looked at his small team of defenders. Luna Base had 37 people, mostly miners and technicians. They had some military training, but they were not soldiers. They had mining equipment, construction robots, and one small defensive laser that could barely damage a shuttle. "Attention Luna Base," came the alien transmission. "You will surrender immediately. Evacuate all personnel to the surface. We will demonstrate our power. Then you will submit." Mike activated the base's emergency protocol. Alarms blared throughout the facility. His people had practiced this drill 100 times, but they never thought they would use it for real. "Listen up, people," Mike announced over the intercom. "This is not a drill. Enemy ships are approaching. Execute Mad Dog Protocol immediately." Mad Dog Protocol was General Hayes' idea. If aliens ever attacked a human facility, the defenders would not fight like soldiers. They would fight like cornered animals, using anything and everything as weapons. The miners quickly began converting their equipment. Ore haulers became missile launchers loaded with chunks of metal. Construction robots were reprogrammed to attack anything that moved. The base's fusion reactor was rigged with explosives that could be triggered manually. Dr. Paul Kim, the base's chief engineer, had an even crazier idea. "Colonel, what if we don't try to fight their ships directly? What if we make them come to us?" "What do you mean?" "We fake our own destruction. Make them think they won. Then when they come to investigate, we hit them with everything we have." When the alien ships arrived, they found Luna Base exactly as expected. The facility looked primitive and helpless. Zektar ordered his gunners to target the main structures. "Fire. Warning shots around the base," he commanded. "Show them our power." Bright energy beams struck the ground around Luna Base, creating massive explosions. The aliens expected the humans to surrender immediately. Instead, they received a transmission from Colonel Roberts. "Alien ships, this is Luna Base. We will not surrender. Come and take it if you can." Zektar couldn't believe what he was hearing. These primitive creatures were challenging the might of the Galactic Council. "Destroy their main building," he ordered angrily. The energy beam struck Luna Base's central structure, vaporizing it completely. The aliens waited for surrender. Instead, they saw something impossible. Mining equipment was moving by itself, launching chunks of rock at their ships. "Sir, we're taking damage," reported the gunner on Zektar's ship. "Those aren't rocks. They're metal fragments moving at incredible speed." The humans had turned their ore launchers into railguns, using the moon's low gravity to hurl projectiles faster than bullets. The alien shields were designed to stop energy weapons, not solid objects moving at such velocity. "How is this possible?" Zektar demanded. "They're using construction equipment as weapons." One of the human projectiles punched through his ship's hull, causing explosive decompression in the lower decks. 2 other alien ships reported similar damage. Then the real surprise came. Hidden beneath the moon's surface, Colonel Roberts activated the mining charges his team had placed along a fault line. The entire section of ground beneath the alien ships suddenly exploded upward, hurling tons of rock and metal into space. The improvised minefield caught 3 alien ships completely off guard. One ship was destroyed instantly when a boulder the size of a bus smashed through its bridge. Another ship lost power when debris clogged its engine intakes. "Retreat," ordered Zektar. "Retreat immediately." As the remaining alien ships fled, Colonel Roberts and his team emerged from their underground bunkers. They had lost their base, but they had proven something important. Humans could fight back. The news of Luna Base's defense spread across Earth within hours. The alien fleet that was supposed to be invincible had been damaged by miners using construction equipment. Humanity's confidence grew while the aliens began to worry. Supreme Admiral Mordun stared at the battle reports in disbelief. 3 ships damaged, 1 destroyed by a mining facility with no military weapons. In his 40 years of conquest, nothing like this had ever happened. How did they do it? He asked his tactical officer. Sir, they didn't fight like any species we've encountered. They used their mining equipment as weapons. They turned their own base into a trap. They fought like what? Like they weren't afraid to die. For the first time since arriving at Earth, the Supreme Admiral felt doubt. These humans were not like other primitive species. They were dangerous in ways the Council had never encountered. The war was about to begin. The destruction at Luna Base sent shockwaves through the Galactic Council. For the first time in 1,000 years, a primitive species had hurt them. Supreme Admiral Mordun knew he had to act quickly before other species got dangerous ideas about rebellion. Assemble the Grand Fleet, he ordered. 500 ships. We will crush these humans completely and use their world as an example to the galaxy. Within days, the largest military force in galactic history began moving toward Earth. Every species in the Council contributed ships and weapons. The Zephyrians brought their planet-killing energy cannons. The Vorthak provided swarms of fighter craft. The Mechanical Nexus sent their unstoppable war machines. Admiral Tony Clark, Dan Rivers' younger brother, now commanded Earth's defense fleet from the bridge of the battleship Freedom. His fleet looked pathetic compared to the alien armada approaching Earth. 60 converted cargo ships, 20 military vessels, and dozens of civilian craft that had been hastily armed with whatever weapons they could find. Sir, long-range sensors show the enemy fleet, reported Navigator Lisa Stone. My God, there are so many of them. Tony studied the tactical display. Red dots filled the screen like angry stars. Each dot represented a ship that could probably destroy his entire fleet alone. But he remembered what General Hayes had taught all of Earth's commanders. You don't win by being stronger. You win by being smarter. All ships, this is Admiral Clark, he announced on the fleet-wide channel. Today we face impossible odds. The enemy thinks we're going to line up and fight them like gentlemen. They expect us to follow the rules of civilized warfare. Well, I have news for them. Humans don't fight fair when our survival is at stake. The alien fleet entered Earth's solar system in perfect formation. Supreme Admiral Mordun felt confident as he watched the human ships scatter like frightened fish. This would be over quickly. Sir, the humans are fleeing toward their asteroid belt, reported his tactical officer. Let them run. We will hunt them down one by one. But the humans weren't running. They were setting a trap. Captain Sarah Kim commanded the converted freighter Lucky Strike. Her ship carried no heavy weapons, just a cargo hold full of asteroids and a crew of miners who knew how to use explosives. When the alien vanguard followed her into the asteroid field, she activated her surprise. The asteroids around the alien ship suddenly exploded, filling space with high-speed debris. But these weren't random explosions. The miners had carefully placed charges to create a shotgun blast of rock fragments that shredded the enemy formation. Direct hit on 7 enemy ships, reported her weapons officer. They're taking heavy damage. More human ships appeared from behind asteroids, launching everything they had. Converted missiles, mining charges, even kitchen equipment shot from makeshift cannons. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Commander Rick Davis led a squadron of fighters against a massive alien dreadnought. His small ships couldn't hurt the giant vessel with their weapons, so they tried something different. They rammed into the ship's sensor arrays and engine ports, causing system failures throughout the massive vessel. This is insane, Davis radioed to his wingman. We're mosquitoes attacking an elephant. Yeah, but mosquitoes can kill elephants. If they hit the right spots, came the reply. The alien fleet began to break formation as human ships swarmed around them like angry bees. Supreme Admiral Mordun couldn't understand what was happening. His tactical computers couldn't predict human behavior because humans didn't follow logical patterns. Sir, they're using civilian ships as weapons, reported his confused tactical officer. A human garbage scow just destroyed our cruiser dominance by ramming it while carrying nuclear waste. How is that possible? The humans converted their waste disposal ship into a dirty bomb. The radiation is making that entire sector of space uninhabitable. Dr. Emily Cross, working from a hidden research station on Mars, had developed humanity's secret weapon. She couldn't build better guns or stronger shields, but she could think of ways to use human technology that no alien had ever imagined. "All human ships, this is Mars Control," she broadcast. "Activate Emergency Protocol 77. Across the battlefield, human ships began doing something impossible. They were sharing their targeting data, coordinating their attacks, and working together like parts of a single organism. The aliens had superior individual ships, but they fought as separate units. Humans fought as one massive, interconnected swarm. Captain Jim Foster, commanding the destroyer New York, received targeting data from 12 other ships simultaneously. His missiles weren't powerful enough to penetrate alien shields alone, but when combined with attacks from other ships hitting the exact same spot at the exact same moment, they broke through. "Target destroyed," he reported, moving to assist Chicago and Boston with their target. The tide of battle began to turn. The alien fleet was larger and more powerful, but human coordination was overwhelming their individual advantages. Every human ship knew where every other human ship was. They shared information instantly and adapted their tactics in real time. Supreme Admiral Morden watched his fleet being torn apart by ships that should have been helpless. "How are they coordinating?" "So perfectly," he demanded. His communications officer looked terrified. "Sir, they're using their primitive radio networks. Every human ship is connected to every other human ship. They're fighting like a hive mind, but they're still individuals." "That's impossible. Our computers can't process that much information simultaneously." "Sir, I don't think they're using computers. I think they're using their brains." The battle raged for 6 hours. When it was over, the Grand Fleet had lost over 200 ships. The humans had lost 40 vessels, but their crews had evacuated to other ships before the final explosions. Even in defeat, humans had found ways to save lives. As the surviving alien ships retreated, Supreme Admiral Morden realized he had made a terrible mistake. These humans weren't just brave or clever. They were something the galaxy had never seen before, a species that got stronger when things got worse. "Send a message to the Council," he ordered. "We need reinforcements, all of them." Back on Earth, Admiral Tony Clark watched the alien fleet flee. His people had won an impossible victory, but he knew this was just the beginning. The aliens would be back with everything they had. "Sir, incoming transmission from General Hayes," reported his communications officer. General Hayes appeared on the main screen, smiling for the first time in months. "Congratulations, Admiral. You just taught the galaxy something important. Humans don't just fight to survive, we fight to win." The war was far from over, but the rules had changed. The hunters had become the hunted. 1 year after the first battle, the galaxy was in chaos. The mighty Galactic Council was losing a war to a species they had dismissed as primitive. News of human victories spread to every corner of space, inspiring rebellions on dozens of worlds. Admiral Tony Clark now commanded a fleet of 300 ships. Many were captured alien vessels, repaired and modified with human ingenuity. His flagship, the Earth's Pride, was a former Council dreadnought that human engineers had improved beyond its original design. "Sir, we're receiving surrender requests from the Deltarian colonies," reported Communications Officer Lisa Stone. "They want to join our alliance." Tony smiled. The Deltarians had been slaves to the Council for 500 years. Now they were ready to fight for their freedom. "Tell them welcome to the party. Send them our battle plans for the Nexus assault." The Nexus system was the Council's military headquarters, protected by massive space stations and the largest fleet in the galaxy. It had never been attacked in 3,000 years. Today that would change. Supreme Admiral Morden stood in the command center of Fortress Nexus, watching the approaching human fleet on his tactical displays. After losing half his forces in previous battles, he had gathered every remaining Council ship for this final battle. 800 vessels surrounded the fortress, while the station's own weapons could destroy planets. "Sir, the humans are approaching with their usual chaotic formation," reported his tactical officer. "Should we engage at maximum range?" Morden studied the human ships carefully. Over the past year, he had learned to fear their unpredictable tactics. No, let them come closer. I want to see what surprise they have prepared this time. Captain Sarah Kim commanded the assault force approaching Nexus. Her ship, the Defiance, led 50 human vessels in what looked like a suicide charge toward the heavily defended fortress. But appearances could be deceiving. All ships, remember the plan, she broadcast to her fleet. We're not here to destroy the station, we're here to capture it. The alien defenders opened fire as the human ships approached. Energy beams and missiles filled space, but the human vessels moved in seemingly random patterns that made them almost impossible to target accurately. Ships that should have been destroyed somehow survived by constantly changing course and using each other as shields. But the real surprise came when the human ships reached the fortress. Instead of attacking the massive structure, they began attaching themselves to its hull like parasites. Each ship carried specialized cutting equipment designed to breach alien armor. "Sir, the humans are boarding us," reported Morden's security chief. "They're cutting through the hull in a dozen places." "Impossible. Our armor is impenetrable." "Sir, they're using mining equipment modified with our own energy technology. They're cutting through our defenses like they were paper." General Kate. Hayes led the boarding action personally. At 60 years old, she was too experienced to stay behind while her soldiers fought. Her team moved through the alien corridors with practiced efficiency, using tactics they had perfected in 100 previous battles. "Remember, people," she told her troops over the radio, "we're not here to kill aliens. We're here to capture their leaders and end this war." The alien defenders fought bravely, but they were not prepared for human boarding tactics. Humans used smoke grenades to confuse alien sensors, flashbang explosives to disorient defenders, and non-lethal weapons to capture rather than kill their enemies. Dr. Paul Anderson had spent months studying alien psychology. He discovered that council species were terrified of capture because their own military tradition demanded death before surrender. Humans, on the other hand, preferred to take prisoners and convert enemies into allies. "All human forces, this is Dr. Anderson," he broadcast from the research ship Einstein. "Remember, these aliens are potential allies, not just enemies. Show them that humans fight to liberate, not to conquer." The battle inside Fortress Nexus lasted 3 hours. Human forces captured key control rooms while alien defenders fell back in confusion. They had never faced an enemy that showed mercy to prisoners or tried to minimize casualties among civilians. General Hayes reached the main command center, where Supreme Admiral Morden waited with his remaining officers. The alien commander expected to be executed immediately. Instead, Hayes removed her helmet and offered him a chair. "Admiral, I'm General Hayes of the Human Liberation Forces. You are now our prisoner. But I want you to understand something important. This war doesn't have to continue." Mordoon stared at the human general in confusion. "You have defeated us. Why do you not kill us as we would kill you?" "Because we're not you," Hayes replied simply. "Humans believe that former enemies can become future friends. We want to offer the council species a choice. Join us in building a better galaxy, or continue fighting a war you cannot win." While Hayes negotiated with the alien leaders, Captain Jim Foster led a technical team to the fortress's main computer core. Their mission was to capture the Council's complete database of galactic civilization. "Sarah, you need to see this," Foster called to his team leader, Engineer Sarah Lopez. "The Council's records show hundreds of species under their control. Most of them never chose to join. They were conquered and enslaved." Sarah studied the data carefully. "Jim, look at these rebellion reports. There are underground resistance movements on dozens of worlds. They've been waiting for someone to show them that the Council can be beaten." The information was transmitted immediately to Earth, where President John Clark and his advisors realized the full scope of their opportunity. This war wasn't just about human survival anymore. It was about liberating an entire galaxy from thousands of years of oppression. "Send messages to every species in the Council database," President Clark ordered. "Tell them that Earth offers them a choice. Join our alliance as free equals or remain under Council rule. but the decision is theirs to make. Within days, the response was overwhelming. Species that had served the Council for centuries declared their independence. The aquatic hydronians offered their advanced shield technology. The crystalline architects shared their knowledge of faster-than-light travel. The nomadic wanderers provided intelligence about Council military positions. Supreme Admiral Morden watched his empire collapse from his comfortable prison cell on the captured fortress. General Hayes visited him daily, showing him reports of peaceful transitions on former Council worlds. "How did you do it?" he asked her one day. "How did a primitive species destroy an empire that lasted 3,000 years? Hayes thought carefully before answering. "We didn't destroy your empire, Admiral. We offered your people something better. The Council ruled through fear. We rule through hope." 6 months later, the war officially ended with the signing of the Galactic Freedom Charter. The document established the Free Species Alliance, with Earth as the founding member but not the ruler. Every species had an equal voice in the new government. Admiral Tony Clark, now promoted to Fleet Admiral of the Alliance Navy, stood on the bridge of his flagship as representatives from 200 species gathered for the first Free Galactic Assembly. "Sir, incoming message from the Zephyrian delegation," reported his communications officer. "They're thanking us again for showing them that freedom was possible." Tony smiled as he watched the diverse fleet of ships around him. Humans had started this war as the weakest species in the galaxy. They were ending it as the leaders of the greatest alliance in galactic history. The Council had thought humans were weak. They learned too late that humanity's greatest strength was not their weapons or their technology. It was their ability to turn enemies into friends and to fight for something greater than themselves. The galaxy would never be the same.